Let's see if this thing's going live. I think we're live. All right.
Who's
This is
this guy?
Jets Talk. This is the cockpit. I will be your pilot tonight. I have a very special guest. I have one of our two buddies over at Hashtag Sports. Mario, welcome to the cockpit. I am glad to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be here, Ryan. I'm glad to that we could do this collaboration. We've been talking about it for months and doing something going back and forth with you and I. And it's not many times you get to cross brand with a rival, especially in your own division. But this is a great thing. I hope that both of our subscribers really like what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you haven't checked out Hashtag Sports, Mario and Paul do a great channel about the Buffalo Bills. You ride around in their car. I've gotten to know them very well. Just through their channel, I feel like I've been best friends with them. I really like it. It's a blast. So definitely check out the link in the description if you want to check out their channel. Definitely hit them up with a sub.
Yes, and those of you in hashtag Nation, if you have members of your family that happen to be Jets fans, we all have them. It happens. We're not going to hold that against them. But if you enjoy the brand of comedy and analysis that Hashtag Sports brings you on a weekly basis, you will like what Ryan's doing. Tell him to go follow on YouTube Jets 24/7 Talk. It's the Jets Talk 24/7. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we have been going back and forth a little bit over the last few days over what we wanted to talk about, and I think one of the first things we need to get off the docket was a little bit of bad blood. Now, I
Oh
don't
boy.
want to start anything negative, but at least our quarterback was alive the last time our team won a playoff game. So,
We're going there. We're gonna go there. That's this quick. This quick. We're gonna.
gotta fire shots right at the beginning.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal. Well, it's because I happen to know that the Bills Jets rivalry does stem pretty long, and it is very if you want to talk about different quarterback play, those of you of hashtag Nation will remember this gem. I believe that's number 6.
Oh, the butt fumble! God damn it!
I think he's about to go on his back. I'm not really
Jesus
sure.
Christ. As Jet
Uh,
fans, we'll never outlive this, and it's something that is going to drive me absolutely bananas.
Got him. All right,
All right,
but that notwithstanding, Ryan,
cleared it out.
all the passengers in the cockpit tonight and all of hashtag Nation, we're going to start talking about because everyone's been talking about their own team and training camps and what's been going on and how everyone's all fired up for their own team. But it's very rare you get a chance to get a different perspective from a different team. That's the hope. That's the hope that Ryan and I both tonight are going to try to get across, and we're going to have some good discussion. We're going to take it from the chat, and we're going to take your questions and everything. So that being said, the first question that I have for you, Ryan,
All right, fire away.
is that Arnold Darnold versus Allen.
Okay.
Arnold, awesome. Which one of those two guys do you think gets the 4,000 yards first? I have my perspective. I want to get yours.
Okay, so this is a very interesting question, and I like the way you phrased it because it wasn't 4,000 passing yards. I think because there's an interesting caveat with Allen. I think because I think there's a what would it be 200 yards a game would put him at 3,200 yards, and then he would need about 800 yards rushing, or like some sort of combination like that.
Yeah.
I I think Darnold will get to 4,000 first. I think passing is just a lot easier than running, and I think if Allen's gonna have to run a lot to get to that 4,000, I think it could be a little tough. I think Darnold through the air has a better shot. I think injury plays a factor with Allen potentially. If you're talking about the rushing yards, what's on your mind? What do you think?
Yeah, I took at it obviously with the usage of Allen's legs, it's going to be very. It would seem like Allen would get to 4,000 combined yards, but you're starting to talk about a guy that's in the second year of his offense. He has a defensive-minded head coach in Sean McDermott. You guys just got Adam Gase. He's an offensive-minded guy. Darnold's gonna, but you got to realize the fact of how teams are going to play these two guys so differently. And I'm not saying that Darnold is a statue. However, if you look at how teams are going to have to play Allen, they can't play Allen. They can't play man against Allen a lot because of the threat of the run. Conversely, if you take it over to Darnold, they could play man and try to bring pressures to try to get him off his spot in the pocket. So he's forced to make reads a little bit faster, I think. So with the talent that both of these guys possess, I think it's going to be a very interesting to see, and that's why the original question about it was who gets to 4,000, not passing, because honestly, I would default to Darnold if it was 4,000 passing yards. I think I would have to go with Darnold. However, if we're talking about 4,000 combined yards for the offense, I got to take my boy. I got to do it by default. I got to take my boy.
Dude, if Allen can figure it out, if he can figure out the whole accuracy thing, he is a terrifying quarterback to have in the AFC East. And I wouldn't have thought that prior to the draft. I was actually a big Rosen fan as like the third quarterback in line. I wouldn't have picked Allen. Now, if I had the second chance, I definitely would go Allen, not over Darnold or Baker, I don't think, but I like Allen a lot. I think he's a freak. He's awesome to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, so that being said, we're talking about Allen versus Darnold, two guys that came out, and I just think we talked about a little bit about yesterday, the fact that you got five guys that were drafted in the first round last year, and three of them are now in the AFC East. Mm-hmm. And the one wrinkle over there is Fitzpatrick at 37, just still playing. Like, yeah, I got a 49 on the Wonderlic. I don't care. I'm smart enough to play this game.
He's been in with like every AFC East team. It's ridiculous. he's
Did you guys enjoy your time with Fitzpatrick? Because we sure did.
Hey, you know what? Outside of the whole like Rex beating us in the last game of the season and me crying home, that season wasn't too bad. We beat the Patriots. I was pretty excited, and then Rex crushed our dreams by going for it on fourth down every single time. Every single time.
He was playing with house money at that point.
Oh, he didn't care. He's just like, I just want to ruin the Jets season. Like, it was just, it was vicious. It hurt me.
It did. Now, the other thing that's really poignant, and we're talking about not rookies, but we're talking about second-year guys now. Mm-hmm. And we talked about there was a lot of debate about Ed Oliver versus Quinnen Williams. Mm-hmm. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a different discussion for both of us because, obviously, Oliver plays in a 4-3 defense. They got Greg Williams over there in New York is running the 3-4. What is your take on two rookies coming in and having an impact immediately, and who do you think? Obviously, you're a little biased, but which do you think has the better year coming out in the rookie season?
In a rookie season, man, Quinnen was just so special that last year, but it kind of scares me that he only had one really good year of production. I think having Leonard Williams on the line is definitely going to help. I think having C.J. Mosley, we have a pretty stout front seven, and then you can even throw Jamal Adams into that front seven because he plays around the line of scrimmage a lot. Man, if Quinnen can do, 80% of what he did in college to NFL quarterbacks, he can collapse that A gap. I think that's going to be really huge. I think getting pressure in Tom Brady's face is absolutely gigantic. I think getting any quarterback off his mark. I remember doing a video about pressures. So you don't even have to complete the sack, but if you get pressure on the quarterback, the passer rating falls from the equivalent of what like a Big Ben is down to, I believe it was like a Blaine Gabbert level, just by applying pressure. So yeah, it's a little screwy. So if you can get that kind of pressure going back and forth and up the A gap, I think that's huge. Man, I'm biased. I love Quinnen Williams. He looks like a baby. It's amazing. The guy's like 300 pounds and just like.
I think they're referring to him as Big Baby too, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, at least the Jet fans are. We have a whole. He's got the whole "bless you, thank you." Like he sneezes on camera and like thanks himself after he blesses himself. And then there was a thing last week where he said something along the lines of "I can't wait to go home and play with myself." But he was talking about Madden. He was talking about his player. I was like, this guy's a character. Like, I don't care. He doesn't have to be good at this point. He's won. I win. He wins for me at least.
I just wanted to say really quick, coming in from #Nation Snarl, he said Jets fans are always so hopeful every year, just like us Bills fans. You know what? It was funny when I was doing some research for what we were going to talk about tonight. I'm like, okay, listen, let me just kind of brush up for all the passengers you have in the cockpit. Let me brush up on my Jets knowledge and thing that's going on. So I was looking, I was like, okay, some similarities between the Jets and the Bills. You have a former head coach that's now your defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. The only returning starter is your left tackle, which is Kelvin Beachum. Mm-hmm. You signed a slot receiver in the offseason to try to help your quarterback.
Yep.
And James, we took Beasley.
Yep.
And just a lot of those similarities that are starting to come along. You guys take Williams, we take Oliver. You guys take Darnold, we take Allen.
Yeah.
it's weird to see how the similarities of both the Jets and the Bills that are getting built,
Mm-hmm.
and it's interesting to see how. I mean, then we go over to the differences of both of these teams, and you have an offensive-minded head coach, Sean McDermott, defensive-minded head coach. You got the different ways that the infrastructure of the team is being built. Your GM, after making some moves, gets fired or quits. Like, what happened to McCagnon, dude?
Dude, I think one of the biggest stories about last offseason, not this past one, the one before that, the biggest story that just wasn't covered was the arms race between the Jets and the Bills and who was going to try and trade up to get higher for a quarterback. And watching the Bills start to creep up and watch the moves kind of start to be made. And then I was actually out west when the Jets traded up to number 3, and I just remember like, fuck the Bills. I was like so happy because like I knew you guys were trying to get up to 3, and I was like, man,
Boy.
the Colts are gonna fall back. It's either with us or the Bills, and I'm like so happy that the Jets made it happen. They gave up a ton of stuff to make it happen, but then yeah, even going forward, you have Darnold Allen, you have D tackles in the first round. The teams are very similar. I think we're both going to be sneaky good. The Bills are one of the teams in the AFC, and I don't know if the Bills or Jets are ready to make that jump towards the playoffs yet, but I think they're the two teams that could be dark horses that teams may not be looking at quite as attentively as they should be.
Yeah, if you think about the way that the teams are being built, that's one thing, and then you look at uh, certain things that are going on with the Bills and the Jets. I think we can both agree, and your fans and hashtag Nation can agree. Whoever it is, got it. The Patriots got to go. They're done. Well, we're tired of the flipping Patriots.
I'm done with them.
I'm done. It's
Done.
over. It's over. I'm tired of them always getting all this publicity and stuff. But I think the other thing that we can agree on, at least for this year, the Dolphins are not going to do it for us.
No, oh man,
It's going to be the Jets or the Bills. And if you're a Dolphin fan and you're watching this channel, you're seriously misguided because we got a Jets channel collaborate tonight, and you guys are just, I don't know are you lost or but I mean, we can convert you if you want to if you want to be a passenger in the cockpit or you want to be part of hashtag Nation, just let me know. So that being said, the other thing that I wanted to get to real quick, Ryan, before we start getting into some of the comments, is let me just see this right here. One of the things, how the Jets and the Bills are going to start. Obviously, week 1 is going to be, for all intents and purposes, it's going to be crazy what's going on. The Bills got to go there, and then the Bills go there again to play the Giants, and then they play the Bengals, then the Patriots. So that's the first 4 weeks laid out for the Bills. It seems like, the Giants and the Bengals are still in their rebuilding phase. Even though they have some talent, they're still in the rebuilding phase. The flip side for you that is going to be a little bit interesting, you guys got the Bills coming into your house. Then you got the Browns coming in, and then you have to travel to the Patriots, and then you have your bye.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you this. It's in my perspective. If this offense isn't going where it's going to go or where it's projected to go, you see Dewell Loggins go bye-bye and Jim Bob Cooter take that spot because I'm a big fan of him as an OC in the NFL.
Well, let me tell you this. I definitely see the Bills' schedule as favorable for sure, at least to start the first 4 weeks. The fact that we have a bye week 4 is ridiculous for a league that preaches safety. But that Bills game, that's a must-win for the Jets for the first 4 weeks of the season. Because if you start off the season 0-3, I want to say it's like a 6% chance of making the playoffs. And that's like any team that starts 0-3. That's not a team that has the Patriots in their division either. You think about it, if the Jets lose to Buffalo, I don't think anyone is going to think that the Jets should be favored in that Browns game. And then you go to Foxborough. There's a real shot the Jets could be 0-3 heading into the bye, and they might not have anything to play for. Like, that's a reality that is absolutely terrifying to us Jet fans. I think a lot of us feel like Buffalo is the most winnable game, and then maybe we catch the Browns, sleeping early in the season, maybe not quite gelled together. That's kind of where we hope it kind of goes. And I don't know what your schedule fully is, but I think the Jets actually travel the least of any team in the country this year. I think the farthest we go is either Cincinnati. Yeah, I think Cincinnati's as far west as we go.
I'd have to check that for the Buffalo. I know in 2018, the furthest west they went, or quote unquote west they went, was
Yeah.
Houston. So
Okay.
they didn't really have any West Coast games. I'd have to look through the schedule again. We did like 3 or 4 episodes on the schedule. I was so
Yeah.
exhausted with it, but you know, so that being said, coming in, obviously, it's so funny to see the transition of the Bills and the Jets, and how it's like, okay, because a lot of Bills fans and a lot of the perspective from the Bills fans, okay, this is what we're building, this is what we're building. All right, we think that the Jets are a very winnable game.
Hmm. Yeah,
And then
no,
we
it makes perfect
like,
sense.
hey,
They're as even as you could possibly get, I think.
so you're saying in your mind, you're sitting there, okay, there could be a real possibility of Jets not having anything to play for, being 0-3 going into the bye, and they're going to have to reevaluate some things.
Hmm.
The Bills fans and everyone that's talking around here, they're saying, okay, listen, we got the Jets, they're a young and upcoming team. You got the Giants and the Bengals that don't really seem like they're going to be at the top of the heap this year.
Hmm.
We're talking about, what if we're 3-0 when we play the Pats? And everyone likes to get the Patriots early because they're not really hitting their stride and everything. So,
Sure.
or we're talking about over here in 7-1-6. We're like, listen, if they're 3-0 by the time they play the Pats, this could be very interesting. And if they're
Yeah.
not 3-0, if we lose to the Jets coming out of the gate,
Hmm.
we have to reevaluate some things that are going on with the football team.
I think it's definitely. I think you guys can rebound better than we can. Like if you guys were to go, if you were 2-1 going into that Patriot game is week 4 for you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, if you guys went 2-1 going into that game, yeah, I don't know. I just have a hard time with the Jets trying to beat Baker. I think that's the scary part for me. And the Patriots are just always, I don't know, they just have our number. So I'm hoping it doesn't
yeah,
go that way again. But
yeah,
God, I don't know. I think the Bills and the Jets are just so evenly matched, like across the board. I think when you look at it, it's interesting too, because like the Jets got Bell at 26 years old. The Bills, back when they got Shady, he was what, 27 maybe, somewhere around there. So like there's kind of a, even if it's not even right now, there's, I don't know, I guess dynamic running back,
yeah.
young quarterback, young quarterback. You got some young weapons that they're trying to surround him with. You guys revamped your offensive line too a little bit, didn't you?
We did, we did. We definitely went in the offseason. We signed about 8 guys. We're kind of, I mean, I know you guys were in the Mitch Morse sweepstakes too, and then
Yeah.
I guess you went down to the. Did you go down to Denny's when they were having senior day and pick up Khalil? Like, what are you guys doing?
I don't know. I was so mad that we didn't go after either Morris or Paradis or Paradis or however you say his last name, and I was so furious. But now we got Khalil to come out of retirement, and I'm super stoked because I did not think for a minute that would even be a possibility. A lot of Jet fans were like, "Oh, we really want to get Nick Mangold back, and that would be fantastic." And like, let's just protect Sam for a year until we figure it out. But Joe Douglas, our new GM, he was an offensive lineman when he played. He's scouted Hall of Fame offensive linemen in the past. I think getting Khalil in there, Khalil being a USC graduate, I think he likes Darnold a lot. I think he sees that potential. He's real strong with the Alumni Association with USC. So I think that kind of falls in line with why he came out of retirement. Gase was
Mm-hmm.
also the one that pulled Cutler out of retirement. So maybe Gase is saying some like shifty stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you get over here."
Probably one of the greatest memes ever created was Cutler with that cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Oh
Saying,
my
hey,
God.
I tried to retire. You guys didn't
I
let
tried to tell you I was done. I I don't know.
Jay Cutler, man.
I have I have no idea what to think about Gase because like I watched they I don't know if the Bills do something similar to this, but the Jets do this One Jets Drive series on YouTube, and they release like training camp. It's almost like a Hard Knocks version of the Jets exclusively for the Jets YouTube, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's real cool. I like watching it, and Gase seems like such a likable guy, and I'm sure that's some video editing. I'm sure it's a little stuff like that, but it seems like the players like him. It seems like they're asking Bell, "Hey, what do you like to run? What I never want to put you in a bad position." That's what Gase has told Bell, and I think this is a dynamic that we haven't had. The Jets haven't had an offensive coach. God, I couldn't even tell you the last time. It's been so long. We've had defensive coach. Mangini, Herm Edwards, Rex, friggin' Bowles. I mean, just go down the list, and it's just defensive coach, defensive coach, defensive coach. So actually focusing on the offense this year is something that I think a lot of Jet fans are super stoked on.
Yeah, the Bills have a similar thing with their YouTube. It's called Embedded, and going there and seeing all the things we had. Tremaine Edmonds was talking to London Fletcher in one of those, and they're like trying to see, what is some things that you did as a middle linebacker, and how you made your calls and everything. And one of the things that I wanted to get to as well that we were talking about is the defenses. I mean, we got Leslie Frazier, you guys got Greg Williams, who I am terrified of. I know Greg Williams.
He's a lunatic.
He has a little bit of a checkered past. I understand that, and I know how that goes. But just like any other NFL team, the way that they're starting to do it and how they're starting to build their teams, it's all coming down the middle. You start talking about you got Williams, Mosley, and Adams. Adams is your leading tackler. I mean, in 115 tackles last year. That's just amazing. We have Jordan Poyer back there who had 100 tackles last year, but we're built down the middle in Ed Oliver, Tremaine Edwards, and if you want to talk about, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are kind of like similar in that respect. They play a lot of similar roles for the Bills. So they're going down the middle of that field. They got, like, you talk about when you guys got Bell. How did you feel when you guys got Mosley?
That was awesome. And what was cool about the Mosley thing that broke my heart shortly after the Mosley thing was we had just gotten news that the Jets were signing Anthony Barr. And the whole Jet fan nation just went bananas. And we're like, we got Barr. Then Mosley happens, and we're like, oh my God. And then Barr's like, yo, dude, peace. I'm going back to the Vikings. And we're like, no, this can't happen like this. And like, so the Mosley thing, awesome. I think we drastically overpaid for him. I mean, we have the money. If you think he's going to lead your defense into, legitimacy, he's going to be your field general along with Jamal Adams, you got to spend the money anyway. So if you're going to have money that's just going to roll over year after year, the time to win a Super Bowl is while, our rookie quarterbacks are on that rookie deal. And absolutely. I'm okay with spending a little bit more than I would otherwise feel comfortable spending to maybe get that push.
Yeah. I mean, we got some from Hashtag Nation coming in. But you remember when Allen hurdled Barr? Like, we were a lot of the Buffalo Bills were saying that when Barr was possibly going to go to the Jets, saying, he'll jump over him twice a year. So it was pretty funny. So are you planning? I mean, we got this from Hashtag Nation. They're asking us if we're planning on doing a post game after the first preseason game tomorrow. Are you guys? Are you doing one for the Jets tomorrow?
I want to. I got work a little later, so I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be home for it. I'd like to. I don't know how much there's going to be to talk about. I mean, it's going to be exciting because football's back, obviously. I know Bell's not playing, so I don't expect us to see a lot of our starters. I don't think Khalil's going to start at all because he hasn't really played at all in practice yet. They're still trying to get him conditioned up. I don't know. Preseason wise, I'd prefer our starters not to play. I'd like to do some type of post game. It kind of depends when I get home.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. At least we're going to try to do a post game for Hashtag Nation. Another thing as well, before I get to my next point, like I said, Hashtag Nation, if you got any members of your family that are Jet fans, first of all, forgive them, and then tell them to go follow Ryan over at Jets Talk 24/7. It's a great follow. He's got a lot of great content, and it's humorous, it's analytical. It's really good time.
I gotta say the same thing with the Buffalo fans. We got some Buffalo fans. I got no hate towards the Buffalo guys. I love me some Rex Ryan. I know you guys don't like him because of everything he did to you. Jet fans got a little bit of spite because he left us to go to you guys. But Hashtag Sports, if there's one Buffalo channel that I really enjoy watching and hanging out with, it's you guys. Because I don't want to say I'm sitting in your car with you, but it feels like I'm sitting in the car with you guys as you go around and do your test drive or your all the drive-through, and like you're just like, oh, just getting breakfast and zipping around. I love it. Jet fans definitely. It's worth expanding your horizons. Go over to Hashtag Sports and give them a follow.
Thank you for that, Ryan. So I'm talking about for the Jets now. One guy that I am looking forward to, and I think he's sneaky for the Jets because I've been looking at studying the AFC East. So I always preach you got to take care of your division first if you want to try to make any noise in the playoffs, even getting to the playoffs. Tell me, Blake Cashman. That guy he's sneaky for me.
Yeah, I didn't give him enough credit when I did my draft breakdown on the Jets draft because I watched a lot of video on him. Anytime I do research, I try to look up interviews and try to look up, past game tape and all these different things. And he did a lot of practicing on the 40 and a lot of the testing skills because uh, I guess his on-field speed wasn't great, or he thought his 40 time wasn't going to be great. And he is playing really well in practice right now. It seems like he's gotten a few reps with the ones. I think there's a lot of excitement around this guy. Now, I predicted he would be a big help on special teams. I still think that's probably the case this year. But hell, if we can find someone that we got in like what was the fifth round, I think, I'm all for it. Considering our our previous draft history, we could use a good draft with some late round gems.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so we're looking at how about one more guy for the Jets?
Mm-hmm.
And hashtag Nation, please be patient. I'm still waiting for you guys to come in with some Q&A from me and Ryan here. But give me your breakdown of Polite. Are we going to expect to see that guy after the bye week, or is he guy that's going to be challenging for a starting position? Because I think he's not playing Williamson's position. I know that. I'm correct on that. I think
Correct.
the undrafted free agent or the unrestricted free agent you guys picked up from Detroit. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. I think it's Copeland. Uh, he came over from Detroit.
Yes, yes, yes.
And now he's playing that position. How long before you think he unseats him? Because I think Copeland's like around 28 right now. So, what's your take on that on Polite?
I think Polite's going to get some playing time. There's been a lot of reports out of Jets camp to start like training camp that he's fallen behind. He hasn't really picked up a lot of steam yet. But as of recently, the last 2-3 days, we've heard things like him being in the backfield constantly. Now, I think it's probably going to take until he learns the playbook and he can play based on instincts because he is a freak. His tape, I said it on draft night, I think that Polite is a better choice where we got him in the third round than Josh Allen would have been, the pass rusher Josh Allen would have been at 3 when we were thinking about, Josh Allen or Quinnen Williams. I think he's going to be really good. I really do believe that. I think the only thing that's going to hold him back is his own, personality or his own will to succeed. If he's not 100% invested, I think that's where we could go wrong. A lot of Jet fans, we've all said, I would stick his locker right between C.J. Mosley and right between Jamal Adams and just let him, sponge up information.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the way that they're doing as far as because Williams is nuts. Greg Williams, so I don't know what he's going to do with this defense. I'm sure he's going to find a spot for a guy that's that gifted and that talented in that defense and the things that he. And I agree with you. Rather than get Josh Allen at 3, getting Williams and solidify that defensive front, and then you have time to work with the linebacker behind him because that guy's taking care of all the trash in front of you, especially in a 3-4 where he's going to have guards releasing on him. And he's going to try to figure it out and try to shed blockers. So that to me, I think the Jets went the right route with that. But we got a question from hashtag Nation. Let me scroll back. Chuck Christopher comes in and says, "Who throws more interceptions this year, Allen or Darnold?"
Oh, man, it's tough because Darnold's going to throw towards his receiver, which is where the defender's going to be. Josh Allen might be throwing it out of bounds.
I'm going home.
No. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. That's a tough one. I think.
Wait. Before you get to your point, he was making quarterback jokes. You guys remember this, right? This is Mark Sanchez again. I started him off with this.
I can't live it down. It's a butt fumble.
Got him. Don't worry, I'll call Fireman Ed. I'll bring him out of retirement too.
Maybe he'll come out of retirement. If he doesn't come out of retirement, every Jet needs a pilot.
And delete his Twitter.
I'll lead the Jets into the future. No, I think. All right, interception wise. Oh God. Okay, I want Darnold's stat line. I think there's a real good chance he's going to set every Jet passing record this season. And it's not saying a whole lot because Joe Namath owns the passing yards record with 4,006 yards, and Fitzmagic owns the touchdown record with 31. So I could see Darnold throwing 34 touchdowns, 35 touchdowns, and like 15 interceptions. I hope he stays with like a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. That would be ideal. he does get
Yeah.
himself in a little bit of trouble. I know last season he threw the most turnover worthy throws, I guess, or something like that. It was a Pro Football Focus thing that they were doing, where it's like,
Yeah.
he got lucky having balls dropped by defenders or thrown into questionable coverage. Now, when he does take shots, I will say this: like, he might throw a really long third down pass that gets intercepted, and it's almost like a punt. So I don't necessarily mind certain turnovers from him as long as they're not kind of setting us back. I know obviously you'd want a punt and maybe a little extra yardage if you're playing the yardage game, but I think there's certain turnovers that may not be quite as critical to your team's overall success, I guess.
Yeah. If I was to try to bank on who would have more interceptions, would it be Darnold or Allen? I think that the way that I see the season playing out for both teams, I think because of the fact that Allen is going to run a little bit more, I don't think he's going to, like I said, I don't think he's going to throw as much as Darnold. And the fact that I think the Bills will be up in a little bit more games than the Jets this season, because, like I said, and I think you were kind of in agreement, but you still had the fandom that came in was like, listen, I think they're like a year or two behind, and some of the things, because anytime you lose your GM, that's got to be a big hit. You got a new coach. You revamped the entire offensive coaching staff and the staff in general. So you bring in Greg Williams, which I always think there's going to be a little bit of who really runs that locker room, because Greg Williams is such a powerful voice in there, and we all know about the bounty gate and all that other stuff. But I just think that Darnold's going to throw more, and because of that, he's going to have more interceptions.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, if you said Darnold will have more picks because he throws near the receiver where the defenders are, I think one thing that we can agree on is that by attrition, your tight end got suspended, and our tight end got hurt. So we do have a couple of promising rookies in camp in Dawson Knox and Sweeney. But in that respect, we're going to be going into that game. It's just going to be all wide receiverville and running back. So you're going to have McCoy versus Bell. You're going to have Enunwa versus Brown. You're going to have Beasley versus Crowder. You're going to have Zay Jones versus Robbie Anderson. So you're going to see all of these great matchups that are going on. I know those guys don't go against each other, guys.
Yeah.
But in that respect, you're going to see. Could we see with the defenses and how strong they are and how strong they come out of the gate? What is your prediction as far as a score? I know it's really early to tell because we haven't had a preseason game yet. But do you think that'll be a 45-42 game? Like,
I have a hard time thinking it'll get. God, I have a hard time thinking it'll be that high scoring, because I do think the Bills' defense is good, and I think the Jets' defense is good, and I think they're going to limit what the two young quarterbacks can do. I would say if I was a gambling man, I'd say the score is going to wind up being like 23-27 or 24-27. It's going to be somewhere under 30 points for both teams, but it's going to be within, a touchdown or a field goal or something like that. And I mean, I don't know if they probably haven't released a spread or anything yet. I would imagine it's like a pick'em game basically, with the Jets getting favored because they're at home. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any feelings one way or the other as far as how high scoring this game could be?
Well, when I was looking at the statistics from last year, like the Jets went 4-12, the Bills went 6-10, and then you look at the point differential. The Jets gave up the 29th most points in the league, and the Bills gave up second. I mean second least.
Yeah.
They're ranked 29th and second in that respect. So being that far of a discrepancy in how many points you allow really tells you that your offense had struggles, and whereas your guys' offense really probably didn't struggle as much. So you could see how the route that the Jets took, they were trying to revamp their defense a little bit more, even though they did bring in some offensive guys to try to, put some nice shiny toys around Darnold.
Sure.
The Bill, I could see that being a pick'em game. I could see that, though, being more of a 17-13 defensive grinding battle. Everyone's trying to feel each other out in the first couple quarters, and then break something. There's going to be a turnover, one turnover that turns and decides that game. I just know it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Allen or Darnold who commits that. I'm trying to be as objective as possible here.
Sure. I think you're spot on with that. I really do. I think a turnover is probably what's going to decide this game. And it's going to be tough. I think the both quarterbacks are going to rely heavily on their run this year. It seems like you guys are focusing on the run a little bit more, as well as the Jets. I mean, we have Ty Montgomery as well, so we're kind of excited to see how this goes. The Jets have a few backs that we're going to have to cut one of them, and they're all like pretty decent, all receiving backs. I don't know who's going to be our like goal line back, who that's going to be. It's going to be interesting to sort of see. We got Powell back, we got Trenton Cannon, but I think he's going to wind up being like the odd man out. He'll probably get cut. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
All right, we got. It's pretty interesting. I didn't expect this, but Paul's running the chat.
Oh, nice. What's up, Paul?
So he says hello, but he has a question for you. He says Bell had 75 and 85 receptions in 2017 and 2016, respectively. Does he get anywhere close to that in 2019 with Case? How do you think he could be one of those guys that is a LaDainian Tomlinson, catches 100 passes?
God, it depends how the Jets offense does, because if they're stalling out and they're not converting first downs like that Steeler offense was, that's going to limit the amount of plays he's actually going to be able to take part in. I think a successful season for the Jets would be seeing Le'Veon Bell get like, if we can get like 1,100 yards rushing and 300 yards, 400 yards receiving from him, that's a ton of yardage from a back that we really did not kind of. I mean, we're paying a ton of money to, but you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, the guy was off all of last year. He's 1 year older. You know, he's not the same offensive line that the Steelers had. Like, the Jet fans do get that, and I think the passing game out in the flat, the screen game, is going to be the best route for Bell to make a big impact on the Jets. I think we still have question marks as far as our right guard. A lot of Jet fans are real iffy on Brian Winters. Shell's coming back from an injury, so I think it'll be interesting to see. I think I'm super excited with Bell. I just don't know if he'll get to that many receptions. If he does, I mean, he's going to have a crap ton of yards.
Do you think that Khalil? I mean, I know you're excited about him, a quarterback in that offense, and that's the job of that offensive the center is to try to quarterback it everywhere in the right spots. And then you have like a nice little couple shiny new toys on that offensive line going on. Mm-hmm. But do you think that he's going to be very effective bringing a walker on the field, tries to snap the ball to Darnold in the shotgun? Because I'm just curious about that, because we got Lorenzo Alexander playing outside linebacker at 35, 36. So I was just curious on your take on it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm excited. I really am excited for Khalil. I was watching some video on him, and there was a video of him and his dad, and they were practicing snapping the ball, and he was practicing against his brother. His brother's, obviously the tackle from Minnesota, and they were just lined up like offense, defense, and Khalil was snapping the ball, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, what did he say? He said something about Cam Newton's hand under his like crotch the wrong way or something like that." And I think it was just a joke that his dad was playing, but I was like, oh my god, I thought it was funny. I like Khalil because he's got a personality. He likes making videos. When I was a kid, I liked making videos, and you can kind of see what he did at USC. He had a few videos with the offensive linemen. He did a few videos and interviews with Carolina Panthers. I think the personality and the locker room presence is going to be huge. I hope he can stay healthy. He's had neck injuries since I think 2 or 3 years ago at this point, and that's more concerning for me if he's down with an injury with that. But I think Jet fans were nervous with Jonathan Harrison being our starting center. The fact that we didn't go after Paradis or Mitch Morris were huge telltale signs. And then there was, I think it was McGovern maybe, in the third round. The Jets wanted him. He was the guard center lineman coming out, and the Cowboys traded just in front of the Jets to get him, and the Jets like panicked. And they took Edoga, I think is what it was. So we got a young tackle on the line as well. So I think Khalil's experience, his leadership is going to help that offensive line, along with Osemele. Osemele has years of experience. He had a few down years in Oakland, but I think he can rebound. The offensive line, I think, is stronger for the Jets than it was, at the beginning of the offseason, but I think there's still question marks, to go around there.
we got a question from the chat. Now, there's a little bit of a backstory here. I've been trying to get people in Buffalo, and I know I don't have that big of a voice. I've been trying to get people to nickname Tremaine Edmonds the Predator, because that's what I think he is. I mean, I got it as my banner on Twitter.
Hmm.
That's who I think he reminds me of. He just hunts everybody down and everything. So we had a question from Randy Jackson, and I'm not sure if it's the real Randy Jackson, but just for
Oh, it
argument's
is.
sake,
It
we'll
is.
see if it is. So he says I posed the question: Mosley versus Predator, who has a better stat line this year? So we got to remember though. I want to get my take on this, and I'll let you think about
Sure.
that. But we're starting to when you start to examine Mosley, an inside linebacker versus Edmonds as a middle linebacker. You're talking about a 3-4 versus a 4-3. What are the responsibilities of both of those guys? And the ways that they're going to try to use Edmonds. I think what happens is they're going to try to use more Edmonds more as an overall linebacker, just to try to get people where they need to go. He's obviously going to be asked to make tackles. He's going to be a huge part of this defense. But with Leslie Frazier and the things that they want to implement as far as the Tampa 2, if you could think back to like a Derek Brooks, he's going to be down the middle of the field trying to cover that tight end or that seam route or anything like that. So they're going to try to mix and match him in a bunch of different ways, put him on the outside. Now, if we were talking straight sacks, I think the edge would have to go to Edmonds in that respect because of the inside linebacker play of Mosley. Now, we had some concerns as Bills fans because of the way that Edmonds got a little sticky last year as his rookie season. The guy's now he's 21, I think now, or 20. I have no idea. But he got a little sticky inside because he was playing a new position. Now, you turn that over to Mosley, who played with Saban in a 3-4, played in Baltimore in a 3-4. Now he's in a 3-4 again. He's really good at shedding blockers. So in that respect, I don't know if he's going to have the type of ability to. I don't think Edmonds is going to have more tackles than Mosley. I think Mosley will have more tackles just because of the amount of roles that they're going to have. They're going to ask Edmonds to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's spot on. Actually, I think Edmonds is probably going to have more sacks than Mosley. I think it's going to depend on how the offenses do. Because if the offenses are, moving the ball and they're getting first downs and they're keeping their defense off the field, obviously that's going to affect how each team plays. The Jets have, over the last probably 10 years, we've had this issue of going 3 and out on offense consistently and our defense just being gassed. Like, we've had some really good defenses that have put up terrible stats because they've been on the field so long. So if Mosley and that defense, can stay rested, I think Mosley's going to do real well. I do see him getting more tackles. I think they'll use him in coverage a little bit. I think they'll use him, right around the line of scrimmage. I don't know if they're going to use him in blitz packages now that they have Polite. You got Quinnen Williams, Leonard Williams, Jamal Adams, even Brian Poole. Brian Poole's a blitzer, the cornerback we got from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
He's a dark horse for a lot of Jet fans. I think a lot of them are really excited. Oh, someone just donated $2. What was it? Number, you used the butt fumble eye counter with Music City. He's the guy in my chat says Music City Miracle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. V-Man.
Right.
I like it. All right. Talking a little bit of smack.
Okay. I understand that.
Okay.
I've been waiting for the passengers to pipe up.
they've been riding nice and quiet. I haven't really been looking at the chat too much. I've been trying to focus on the camera and be like, okay, conversation. But you know what? I really like it a lot. I think the fans are having fun with this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're having a good time. And yeah, like I said, if you got a cheap plug, Ryan, just throw it in now. It doesn't matter. Whenever we do it, just go ahead. Let's talk 24/7. Go follow them.
Boom. Follow Jets Talk 24/7. Follow #sports. These guys are a lot of fun. We got to get Paul on here, too. I got to see if we could do like some sort of 3-person panel. And then
I'm sure we could, but I just sent a missing persons report, as did #Nation for Paul. I have no idea where I think he went out of town, never told me. He's in the chat. He's going to tell me where he went, but I'm not really sure. He just ups and leaves whenever he wants.
Now, for some of for the guys that are watching on Jets Talk 24/7, tell us a little bit about your channel. How did you guys get started? What was your inspiration to start your channel?
Well, we had a podcast. So Paul and I used to just kind of go back and forth with everything and go on to certain podcasts and say, hey, do you want to create our own? So we did that for about 3 years. And then we took like a little bit of a break. Family gets, we started our families and everything like that. So
yeah, of course.
I was like, Paul, listen, why don't we just, as an excuse, just to, get out of the house, why don't I just pick you up We'll film it. We'll talk. We'll have a good conversation about the Bills. We'll just do everything that we do on our podcast. We'll just do it in the car, and I'll cut it up. We'll do everything.
Mm-hmm.
The unfortunate thing for Paul was, in the beginning, we agreed that I would take care of all the visual stuff and cut up all the videos and everything, and he would have to take care of the comments. Well, when you start out, you have 13 subs and you're starting this and nobody knows who you are. It's a bit of a grind for me to try to do the video. So now the scales have switched a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's answering about 150 comments each video. And I make the videos in about an hour and a half, 2 hours now for the week. So now he's sitting there going, "Oh boy, I got the short end of the stick on this." Yeah, you got the raw end of the deal on that one, Paul.
I like it. No, it's a good problem. It's fun. You know, I think the comment section is a really fun area of YouTube in general, and you know, just being able to talk to everyone, because it's almost like you're joining a football forum. Only, I don't know. It's just cool. It's nice that people can spend their time doing a lot of different things, but the fact that they take their time out of their day to just watch one of our stupid videos about us babbling about sports is kind of cool.
Oh, I'll put hashtag Nation up against anybody on YouTube as far as devotion, support, contributions and stuff. It's just really good football talk, and it's not one of those things you get from YouTube or not from like Facebook or Twitter. Yeah. You know, everyone kind of snipes you. Oh, you don't know that. You don't know this. It's really good football content, and I'm sure all the passengers in the cockpit feel the same way. Now I gave you my story. I'm curious to see how you started up this crazy talk.
So, interesting enough, this channel became a thing because I wanted to start a different channel. I had wanted to do a few videos, and I wanted to get used to talking to a camera. And I was like, all right, well, what can I talk about that I feel comfortable with? I was like, oh, I'll talk about the Jets. And one thing kind of led to another, and it got a little bit of steam, and I was like, oh, you know what, this is kind of fun. I'm just going to keep doing it. And I almost stopped at the end of the fall this past year, and I was like, you know what, I don't know if like the time I'm putting in is really worth it. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it one more go. I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a push, kind of go all in, and it's been a lot of fun. The original idea for the channel that I wanted to do, why I started this, was actually I wanted to go to, I'm a skier and a snowboarder, and I wanted to go to different ski resorts around the country. I wanted to interview people on chairlifts, and I wanted to like, this is a stupid idea, but stick with me here. I was going to dress in a pickle costume, and the idea of the show was going to be called In a Pickle. And
all right.
I sit on the chairlift and I interview these two people. I put them in really weird, awkward situations, but I would market things for different resorts, and I would you'd see like the backdrop of all the mountains and everything behind it, because all the different resorts have different things to offer, and I could get some free lift tickets out of it. So that was kind of the goal of what I wanted to do. And I kind of got sidetracked, and now I just, rant about Jet stuff, and it's a little easier.
It is pretty funny. Like I do enjoy the videos. I am hashtag Nation has subbed, and we do enjoy the videos, and the mix of comedy and analysis is really, I think it's a great blend. I think you got a real cool thing going on over there as far as your play on words with the cockpit and everything every Monday. Yeah, you get live every Monday, guys. So if you're kind of curious about what other teams are doing, I'm not going to sub to a Patriots channel, even if they do have. So
well, they're just bad people. That's okay. No one's going to argue that. They're just there's Jet fans, Buffalo fans. I'll give you guys a little bit underneath there, and then there's like, Nazis, and then Patriot fans, and like they're kind of right underneath that line right there. I'm gonna get demonetized right there. Like, boom. We can't post this. There goes
the demonetization for this show.
Oh yeah, they're saying hate speech right there. That's what they're talking about. It's like,
all right, so if we're talking about, we do got to let's just try it. If we get back to football real quick.
Okay.
So all right, leading wide receiver for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he said Paul posed this one. He said Robbie Anderson versus either Cole Beasley or John Brown for the Bills. Total yards or TDs. And we got some people, Paul Berg coming in saying Beasley will have the most catches for the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Auto repair team. I think this is the first time the auto repair team even commented. So thank you for your comments. Joining hashtag Nation. 80 versus 70. So Brown might be the guy. We got a little bit of a split, but number one, who do you think will be the leading receiver for the Jets? And my little caveat for that will be that receiver breaks 100 receptions.
I think the only receiver that we have that has a shot at getting 100 receptions is going to be Crowder, because I think Robbie's going to be used to take the top off the defense, and I
Mhm.
think he could have the most touchdowns receiving. I mean, Bell could honestly probably fight for that as well. I think I think Robbie probably has the best shot of getting the most touchdowns, the most big bang plays. Like he might have, 3 catches for 100 and something yards because he's just taking the top off, but Crowder might have 10 receptions for, 100 yards or something. So I don't know. I think catch wise, I think it's going to be Crowder. I think yardage and touchdown wise, it's probably going to be Robbie. Um, I wish Herndon was going to be playing all 16 games. The fact that he's suspended the first 4 is definitely going to hurt because Darnold and him started to get a little bit more of a report. Not that I thought he would be a leading receiver, but I thought he would play a little bit more. Take receptions away from other guys possibly this season.
Yeah, okay. I mean that makes sense. I mean, because I saw the report that they were starting to build during the end of last season,
Mm-hmm.
and if I had to try to answer this question honestly, because of the way I've seen the Bills operate at camp and how they're going to try to spread the ball around, and they have these multiple looks and everything, and like I said before, when I said that I think Darnold will have more interceptions than Allen just for the sheer fact that he more volume. He's going to throw a little bit more. Even with Bell there, I think he's going to throw a little bit more. That being said, because of that, I think Anderson will have more receptions,
Mm-hmm.
or Anderson or Crowder, because it could be even a Nunwood could sneak in there because if he's the wide receiver 3 and no one's really paying attention to him, even though he's on the outside and Crowder will be in the slot, it could be one of those scenarios where he benefits from everyone else. The defense is trying to take away everyone else. But I think just for that sheer fact, the volume is they're going to have more receptions than either Beasley or Brown for the Bills offense. A follow up to that, we had Bills Mafia Man coming in from Hashtag Nation. He said, "Who do you think will be the number 1 tight end for the Bills, Knox or Sweeney?" My personal opinion, I think it'll be Knox, just for the sheer investment that they put in him and how he's been performing. I know he's had a little issues with drops during camp, and that kind of hurt him a little bit. And Sweeney's been rising up the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, if you have both of those guys active on game day, it doesn't spell very good things for Jason Kroom as far as being on this Bills roster. And a side note to that, and I'll kick it to you, Ryan.
Yeah.
With your tight end out 4 games, who's going to pick up the slack for the Jets?
Well, first off, I just want to say I got UFC Jaguar in the chat shouting it out. Nice to have you over here, UFC Jaguar. Good to have you. UFC Jaguar, if you have not checked out Hashtag Sports before, definitely go check him out. UFC Jaguar, great Jaguars channel. I would like to do a collab with you at some point too, as well. But okay, so
All right.
if you're looking at tight end and Herndon being out, who's going to get the bulk of those touches? I think it's going to be Bell. I think Bell's going to receive more of the. It's going to be a Bell and Crowder kind of thing. Like I love Enunwa. Like Enunwa should be our top receiver, but I don't trust him to stay healthy. He got hurt in practice today or yesterday, and that's concerning for Jet fans. He's always had some type of nagging injury that keeps him out of games. And it's been driving Jet fans bananas because the guy is an absolute freak. He can play absolutely every position. He can play on the outside. He can play in the slot, and he's just a matchup nightmare. He's too fast for his, the size that he is. It's amazing what he can do. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah, Anunwa is like, to me, he just reminds me of one of those hybrid guys.
Mm.
He could do a bunch of different things. You can line him up as far as a matchup nightmare as well as Bell. So I mean, giving Gase all those toys is what really scares me.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, coming at it from the Bills' perspective, the defense that we're able to assemble and the fact that we're not losing anyone. And, we lost Kyle Williams. I understand that. We had a guy quit at halftime. I'm sure the Jets have been throwing that in your chat. But that being said, we replaced the Kyle Williams. We signed Jordan Phillips, and now we have Ed Oliver in there. And then you guys pick up Quinn Williams, and as far as that goes, so, I mean, we talked about that earlier. But in that respect, you start talking about, oh, man, how are we going to stop the Jets? How are we going to stop the Jets and everything? And it's just one of those scenarios where we just have to try to contain. You're not going to stop Bell. All right, Enunwa, could he be neutralized? Maybe he's shown flashes of really good plays, but he's not really. You're not going to talk about him as a Julio Jones or about Beckham and stuff like that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine if he progresses to that fact, it'd be great. But he's a guy that you can move around, and all we got to do is try to contain him and try to limit the opportunities that they have. So it's going to be interesting to see. Paul came in the chat. What did he just say? Mario, any details on them? Their wristbands? Yes, I am wearing them. I just took one off and show everybody. Just want to show everybody in the chat real quick. If I could be afforded a cheap plug.
I gotcha.
We got the H-Tag Sports here, and then we got the What Drives You logo on it for us. But that being said, we are going to be, we're setting up everything for Hashtag Nation. We're going to have a little bit of merch for you guys. We're going to be talking, I got to talk with Paul a little bit more about what we're going to be doing. And I cannot wait to start just distributing these to everybody. So of Hashtag Nation who have supported us and supported Paul, Paul and I and everything that we're doing here and help the channel grow and discussions and comments and everything. We can't thank you guys enough for all the contribution you guys have had. So yeah, we're going to, within a couple weeks, we're going to have that available to you. So if you guys want them, we got them. So.
Nice. Very cool. Oh, God. Well, I'm trying to think what else. We talked to... So, Mario and I set this up yesterday. We were screwing around with the layouts and trying to get all the camera angles working and stuff. And we talked... What was supposed to be probably like a 45-minute, like, troubleshoot turned into like a 3-hour long, like, just kind of ridiculous rant. I wound up going to bed at like 1 o'clock. I had to be in at work at 5 this morning. So I'm like, oh, jeez. I don't know.
All right. I had a 4-year-old jump on me at 5 this morning to wake me up, so I guess you got to take what you can get.
No.
So,
dude, this is a lot of fun.
As we're starting to wrap this up, Ryan, I know you got to go. You're a busy man. We got things we got to do. Let me just real quick for all the passengers and all of Hashtag Nation, your most famous memory as a Jet, and I'll respond with one as a Bill. So
all right.
What's your most memory?
Oh, my most fond memory as a Jet fan.
It's not this, is it?
This is up there. It definitely is. I would say, oh, geez, okay. I probably should have thought about this a little harder. When I was a kid, we went to it was actually Jets. God, it was Jets Jaguars. I want to say it was the divisional round playoff game in '98 or '99, and it was like. Jets home playoff game. The Jets beat the Jaguars, and confetti cannons just going off everywhere. There's green and white confetti, and I just remember being like 9 years old or 8 years old or whatever I was at the time, just like, oh my God, this is awesome. I was also at the game with the Jumbo Elliott touchdown, the Miracle in the Meadowlands, when the Jets came back against Miami for like, I want to say it was like 24 points in like the last X amount of minutes in the game, and Jumbo Elliott comes out as a eligible receiver and he catches a touchdown, and like my dad and I are going crazy. My dad and I, I think the bond that my dad and I have stems from me going to Jet games with him as a kid. So I use sports kind of like as a release to get away from the rest of the world, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's my biggest, or my two biggest moments, I guess, as a Jet fan.
No, that's awesome. I mean, because there's a reason why we cheer for the teams we cheer for, whether it's family or whether it's an experience that you have and everything that's intertwined in it. It's pretty awesome. And I think that the biggest memory that I have, because unfortunately I did not grow up a Jets fan. I didn't even grow up a fan of sports initially until I was like almost in my teenage years. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, I just kind of whatever. The first jersey I was ever given was, we had a starter store, and my father bought me a jersey. It had 80 on it. It was a Jerry Rice jersey, but his name wasn't on it. It was like an old starter jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, whose team is this? What's going on? Oh, okay, it's Jerry Rice. Sweet. So that being said, one of my most modern memories that I do have as far as being a Bills fan was the year that Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I was going to sound goofy and corny.
It's okay. We had it too.
I wasn't at the comeback game. I know there's like 2.5 million people that said they were at the comeback game versus the Houston Oilers. But I was not there. I did not. I don't even think I watched that game live. But that being said, the Fitzpatrick game, when they beat the Patriots at home 34-31, and they threw a slant to Freddie Jackson to get down to inside of there, and they have beaten them. But that was one of my most memorable memories that I have of being a Bills fan. Now, growing up, and I told you this last night, my brother was a Jets fan, and he was 6 years older than me, and he used to drag me to games wearing Mark Gastineau jerseys.
Now, see, my Jet fans are going to love that.
Can you tell me how much of CPS should have been called? Because you do not wear an opposing team's jersey now to a Bills game and expect that you're going to get out of there.
Oh yeah.
And so it's I I didn't know.
My
It was insane. It was absolutely insane.
When I was in college, I had this one housemate, and Nevins, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We'd have football Sundays, and all of us would be, a lot of us were Jet fans, some of us were Giant fans, and we're all watching football. And then fucking Nevins comes down the stairs with his Buffalo Bills jersey on. He's from Long Island. I don't know what he's doing with the Bills jersey on, but he's doing it just to troll all of us. And I think it was, God, I think it was a Fitzpatrick jersey. I'm like 60% sure. I was in college in like 2010, 2011. So like he was just trolling everyone. And like it was the year that what year was it? It was when the whole Jets fell apart and Tebow was there and he's just like snickering to himself. I was like, I hate you. I hate every ounce of you right now. And we're up. So I went to school in Binghamton, so I'm like kind of up in that neck of the woods. So there was a ton of Buffalo fans up that way, and he was just a troll. He's not a nice troll.
Oh my God, Paul just brought just one little nugget before we leave, and I'm sure the Jets fan will appreciate this. So obviously, knowing my brother's a Jet fan, knowing all the stuff that he does, he was a diehard Jet fan for a while. Paul buys a Tim Tebow Jet jersey, and when Michael Vick went to the Jets, Paul buys this jersey for him. He takes duct tape. It's not even regular. It's duct tape. Puts an X over the 5. And puts duct tape over the Tebow and writes Vic in black Sharpie.
I love it.
On the back of it and then on the front of it. And I was like, I have the video. It might make its way into a video one of these days. But I was like, Paul, why do you do this just to troll my brother? And I can't remember what he said he paid for the jersey. It wasn't a lot.
I like it. So I had when the Giants and Patriots had their Super Bowls. I had an old Chad Pennington jersey, so number 10 on it, and I took tape and I put it over the back of the Pennington part, and I put Manning on the back, and I wore it to school. I was like, you know what? Screw this. I hate the Patriots. I want to see, it kills me that the Giants won 2 Super Bowls, but like Tom Brady can go kick rocks. Like go pound sand, dude. It's just he gets me fired up.
All right, Ryan, before we close this out, I want to just say thank you for we were able to do this. We were able to get a collab done, and we were able to talk some Bills and Jet stuff and get a lot of good stuff out there. At least I feel, in my opinion. But for you, I want to get real quick because we'll probably do one of these right before I'm sure we'll do one of these before the Jets Bills game opening day.
Oh yeah.
What is your prediction on the Jets record this year? I'll give you mine, then we'll let everyone go to sleep for now.
All right, I think the floor for the Jets is 8-8. I think the ceiling's 10-6. I think 10-6 may not make the playoffs this year, at least for the Jets, based on the strengths of the Steelers and the Browns fighting for it, the Chiefs and the Chargers. I think that wild card spot's going to be real tough, but I think the season for the Jets is a failure if we're below 8 wins. I think Jet fans would be really happy with 10 wins. I think a lot of us have hope that we could make the playoffs, but I think by and large, if we see an 8-win season after having a lot of bad years in a row, I think this is one step in the right direction for us, and I think that's kind of where we're going to fall.
I've always said on the hashtag sports episodes that a 10-6 is a cop out because you want to think you think your team's getting. No, it's funny. It's my own personal thing, and no one else says it. But 10-6 is like, I think my team's going to be good, but I don't want to venture into the, too far in the double-digit wins.
Nope. I'm saying eight's the floor I'm hoping for. I mean, we could go sideways. We could wind up 6. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but I don't think we win more than 10 games. I think that would be. We'd be in good shape.
Injury now.
Yeah.
Barring injury. Like, obviously, if there's an injury there, that'll throw a wrench into everything that goes on with either team. And I understand that. And the injuries do happen. I mean, after week 1, nobody's 100% anyway. Yeah. So I think if I'm going to echo that same sentiment for the Bills because of the question marks that we have on offense. They're just getting together. They got a lot of new pieces. The defense is going to carry your team for the first 6 weeks. That's an echo from Paul. It's not me, but it is very true in the NFL. The defense will carry you the first 6 weeks while your offense gets their feet. I think that the floor for the Buffalo Bills would be like right around you said. I think the floor is an 8-8 season, and I think the ceiling is going to be. I'm going to venture up to 11-5. I'm just going to climb that ladder just a little bit because of the schedule that they have and how it plays out. Their bye week being right in the middle of the season, I think is huge for some of the rookies to get some rest for a couple of weeks, and then they come back I'm pretty sure they come back at home after that. I don't know. But if they're not at home, they're very close to home, like whatever away game they're playing.
Mhm.
That being said, um, so that's what I think about for the Bills. But Ryan and I will be back before
Absolutely.
opening day. Ryan, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight and doing this collab. And I sure hope all the passengers in the cockpit enjoyed it. And
Yeah, absolutely. I got a bunch of guys in the chat over here saying great show, guys. I think it's a lot of fun. Hopefully, guys, seriously, check out hashtag sports. These guys are knowledgeable Bills fans. The Bills aren't our enemy, not yet at least. The Patriots are. Screw those guys. Go over there, follow, give them a follow. They're worth watching for sure.
all right, awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Go over to Jets Talk 24/7 hashtag Nation, and all the passengers. We are out. We'll see you later.
I got to hit end of my stream. I didn't hit end. Oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell am I doing? I'm so out of my